Do you fancy World War III? Looks like the government's going the right way about it. Apparently, the bombing and killing of tens of thousands of civilians deserves a bit of a verbal reaction, but interfering with our trade, well, that's a different matter. Without even going to Parliament and using emergency powers, Rishi has followed the American lead and we've jointly bombed Houthi targets in Yemen. How long this warning will continue is anyone's guess. I'm sure a couple of days to recall Parliament and have a vote on military action wouldn't have made too much difference to the situation, but there would have been a danger they voted against it in an election year. The rerouting of ships will lead to a rise in inflation, which would mean Rishi breaking yet another promise, but I'm sure that didn't occur to him. And as Thatcher proved with the Falklands, there's nothing like a war to stoke up a bit of blind patriotism encouraged by client journalists in the right-wing media to secure votes. And the additional weapons being made won't hurt, will it? Watch this space to see how this self-serving decision pans out. Back at home, in what's left of Britain, the sacking of disgraced Tory MP and former Deputy Leader of the House of Commons, Peter Bone, for bullying and general sex pestistry, has led to a by-election in Wellingborough. The new Tory candidate will be, drumroll, his partner, Helen Harrison. That's bad enough, but remember he can now be employed by her, and like Johnny Mercer's other half, he could easily be paid $45,000 a year from her expenses. Failure rewarded yet again. You can bet a little life his bank account won't be snooped on by HMRC though, unlike pensioners and benefit claimants, whose details are to be made available to DWP. This is a major change that's gone largely unreported because it means they don't only get to check your account when they think you've done something wrong, they now do it as a matter of course. Basically, you're considered guilty until proven innocent, which totally goes against the principle of law in any democracy. But what can you expect from a bunch of fucking criminals other than to assume everyone else is like them? There is someone who seems to be able to get away with major corruption unhindered, though, in fact, assisted by the government. And guess what? He's a lord. Yep, Baron Houchen of High Leven, the Mayor of Tees Valley. Where do they think of these fucking ridiculous titles? He set up the Teeside Freeport, which is 90% owned by his friends and family, and which bought the land for £1 an acre. Thanks to a leasing deal and some scrap metal rights, its income was 143 million in the first year, a profit of just 50 million pound. The Minister of State for Levelling Up, Michael Gove, refused to bring the National Audit Office in to investigate what's been called corruption, wrongdoing, and illegality, and has instead announced there'll be an independent panel who he will choose. Unbelievable. But he's refused to set a deadline, so it looks like it will be pushed back until after the election, because revelations of corruption on this level would look bad even for this government. Back in the House of Commons in PMQs, Wes Streeting, Labour's Shadow Secretary of State for Health and Social Care, was mocked on his return after taking time to promote his book. Mocked by a party whose Nadine Dorries didn't attend Parliament for over a year while she wrote hers, and Boris Johnson who didn't react to COVID because he was finishing his. They're nothing but a bunch of two-faced bastards. If you'd like to know where that Minister of Common Sense has disappeared to, why not subscribe and choose notifications while you still can. And please share, which helps our smaller channels